Hello, my fellow Americans and international friends, and welcome back into the Cal Report. Today is September 19th, 2022. All right, today we're going to talk about what you need to know about Proposition 26 and Proposition 27 for the November elections. So, starting off with Proposition 26. If this were to pass, it would allow in-person sports betting at racetracks and tribal casinos. The proposition also allows additional gambling such as roulette at tribal casinos. However, if Prop 26 does pass, you would not be able to wager on certain sports such as high school games and games in which California college teams participate. I'm a USC fan, so that bums me out a little bit. In addition to all that, all bets must be made in person at the track. Can't do it from your phone. The proposition also requires the racetracks pay the state 10% of sports bets made each day after subtracting any prize payments. These payments would go into a new California sports wagering fund. And as far as the requirements on tribal casinos, there would be specific requirements for tribal casinos that choose to offer sports betting. For example, sports betting can be offered on tribal lands only after a tribe changes its compact with the state to allow it. Each tribe's compact would lay out the requirements that it must follow. Now, I know that if you've watched television lately or if you've been on certain platforms, you've seen a bunch of ads concerning both of these propositions saying to vote yes for them and also to vote no for them. So it's important that you make the distinction between the two and you're not confused when you go to vote. So as we go on to Proposition 27, if this were to pass, it would allow ages 21 and older who are not on tribal lands to bet on sports over the internet and mobile devices. Again, Proposition 27, that's the online mobile devices one. It would also ban bets on high school games and elections, things like that. Tribes and gambling companies with sports betting licenses must pay 10% of sports bets made each month to the state after subtracting various expenses. Now, these expenses include things like any bets made with credits from promotional offers, prize payments, federal gambling taxes, etc. Losses which result when expenses are more than bets may be used to offset these payments. Gambling companies have to pay $100 million when its 5-year license is approved, and $10 million each time its license is renewed. A lot of money. All of those payments would go into something called the California Online Sports Betting Trust Fund. Now on to how the revenue would get used, and this is where you've seen some of those attack ads on both sides, right? So Proposition 26 would require California Sports Wagering Fund revenues to be used for education spending. Not sure if that would really work for that sector. I mean, they tell us lottery revenues get used for education, yet we're ranked 49th in the country in education. So just because you spend more money on it doesn't mean you'll be the best, right? Other remaining monies would go to things like gambling addiction, mental health programs, sports betting and gambling enforcement costs, and of course the lion's share to the state general fund. It's unclear how much of an impact Proposition 26 would be to state and local governments because, for example, we don't know yet if tribal state compacts changed to allow for sports betting would require additional payments to local governments. For Proposition 27, 85% of the revenue would be allocated to address homelessness and for gambling addiction programs. This money would be provided to local entities generally in the same way as the state homeless housing assistance and prevention program. The other 15% would go to tribes that are not involved in online sports betting. They could use these funds however they want. My personal opinion on this subject when it comes to the homelessness is that money's not the problem. It's the failed policies of Gavin Newsom that we're trying to fill. Newsom wants to build homes for everyone. Homes are not the answer. You take someone who's mentally ill and stick them into an apartment, you haven't solved the problem. You haven't even come close to solving the problem. So when it comes to homelessness, that's just my personal opinion again, but that's a different topic for another day. And as far as my final thoughts on this, hundreds of millions of dollars are wagered on sports in the state of Nevada alone each year. It's no secret that residents in Southern California are a big part of that. On top of that, hundreds of billions of dollars, with a B, hundreds of billions of dollars, are wagered illegally every year, including money wagered at offshore sports books such as ones based in the country of Costa Rica. My point of view is Why should a resident living in Los Angeles, for example, have to drive over a couple hundred miles just to make a bet on a football game if he so chooses, when he can just drive over to the nearest racetrack or do it from home online? With many other states legalizing sports betting and making insane amounts of revenue from it, why shouldn't California be able to get in on the action? It'll mean more revenue for us. And as far as how the revenue is spent, well, that comes back to our own civic duty, right, folks? Make sure you hold your local elected officials accountable on that and just make sure that it's spent correctly. That's it for today. Really appreciate you guys watching my video. As always, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, or please subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate it, guys. That's what's going on in California. God bless, take care, and I'll see you all next time.